Hello all and welcome to another video in my journey to 1 Million Gamerscore series, and July is over, so it's time to bring to you July part 2. So in July part 2 I was able to get 5 completions of different games, but if you count a stack I was able to get a 6th completion, as well as playing a little bit of other stuff as well. So with that, let's go to gaming and indeed show you what you've come here for, and that is to see what Gamerscore I have got this month. And as per usual in these videos, I like to do this in chronological order, and that starts with playing a little bit more Need for Speed Payback. Now at the end of the last video I had 215 Gamerscore out of this, and I was explaining how I got all of that. So with that, we put a lot more time into Need for Speed Payback, and I must admit I largely enjoyed this game. And at the end of the last video I was explaining about how I managed to equip my car fully with the same brand. So if you see some more of those achievements and you wish to know how I did that, or some tips on how I did that, please watch the last 3 or 4 minutes of July part 1, and that will explain to you how I did that. Save me repeating myself again for the regular viewers. Okay, so yeah, there was another storyline progression one here in defeating that boss. As I say, you have to progress all your way through all of these leagues and then beat the final boss, the final guy or girl, whoever it may be, and then you unlock a 5G achievement for doing that every time. Like I said, end of last video, everything with the Americana brand as well. Took down 100 pursuit vehicles. That will pretty much come with time if you play through the entire story mode. There is a level where you play as, or you drive a HGV lorry and you take out multiple pursuit vehicles, and that will help certainly give you a boost. I think that was where it was unlocked for me, and above that you'll see in the thumbnail for this is a picture of a HGV in a mission which you must do involving driving one, and that will get you achievement at the end of it, storyline progressional, for stealing 2 gold plated cars. That's pretty self-explanatory in its description there. Now I did it early on when there was a race with about half a dozen cars in it, and my car was clearly more overpowered than the rest, and I was able to get the job done just. However, I then learnt that later in the game there is races where it's just you and one other person, so if you're last in that race you're only second of 2, so you can then just try and nick the win on your last lap and it will unlock there as well. Again, another league storyline progressional one there. Again, this goes back to equipping a full brand. Like I said, end of the last video, please watch the last 5 minutes. Same applies to that one. Again, more storyline progression there. More storyline progression there. There are 4 or 5 garages scattered around the map. Once you've got enough credits to buy all 4, that achievement will unlock. They're not that expensive, to be honest with you. That achievement's not that difficult at all. You can actually fast travel to somewhere near it and just pop in and buy it, so yeah, not difficult at all, that one. You brought the house down. Again, storyline progressional, so that is basically the end of the game, the last thing that she'll do. Again, if you play it on an easy enough difficulty like I did, that's not going to be too hard once you eventually get there. As I say, just expect to put a lot of time into this game to get there. Okay, 350,000 points. Make sure you've got that specific car. I used the solution on trueachievements.com for this one. They told me which one was the best to use for this because the course was quite long. I remember I did it first time, or my first attempt, I just missed out on hitting the score margin, but the second time I cleared it by about 20 to 30,000 points. So the solution on True Achievements for this achievement, despite the fact the unlock percentage below 1%, is very good, especially if you know how to drift a car. Honestly, not that difficult at all, that achievement. Okay, so once I got a very nice car, a very top car, and I fully upgraded it, hitting 240 miles an hour in it was not an issue, especially if you're using turbos. Above that, owning those 3 cars. Now 2 of them, not a problem, just make sure you buy them. The BMW, the Nissan Skyline listed there, tells you exactly which ones you need. The Chevrolet Bel Air, however, is a derelict car, so there are parts around the map that you will need to find. I must admit, I used a not True Achievements guide, I used a YouTube video guide that was specifically for that car. It told me where all the parts were. I was then able to go in the garage and assemble a derelict car. So I was able to then own that car, which then unlocks assembling a derelict car above. And then once I'd assembled the derelict car, I then used that car to win an event. Again, just picked a very, very low event, one of the very first ones that is thrown at you, and just won an event in it. And then I got that same derelict car's performance level to 399. So go to the tuning shops. If you've got enough credits, you can actually tune up your car to pretty much level 16 all round by spending a pre-done set, and then after that you just keep needing to sort of buy ones that are 16, 17, 18, all the way up to till about 20, I think. And then once you've got a full set of 20s, you'll be up to 399, and that your car will be up to that level. Okay, so most of these achievements now, I think, except for one, are all for doing the Speed Cross series. I believe this is DLC. Now, when I bought this game, the DLC must have been part of the bundle. This game must be an Ultimate Edition or something, because the Speed Cross was already unlocked for me. To be honest with you, all the events I'd done in that were just so easy. They were so easy, it was ridiculous, and I'm not very good at driving games. Honestly, the points margins that I needed, I absolutely flew past them. Sometimes you get 3 laps to do it, and I'd practically done it by the first lap. So easy to finish all the Speed Cross events on that. You can't actually buy any cars within the Speed Cross garage until you finished all the Speed Cross events. So once I'd done that and unlocked that 100G achievement, I was able to buy that car, and then I was able to fully upgrade one of the cars again by using that trick of going in the tuning garage, buying the setup that will pretty much get me to level 16 parts all round of the 6 parts, and then slowly chipping away at getting the parts up to level 20. And then that one there I should have done really early on. You can literally bring up the tuning set in player. I forget the button function, I apologise for that, but it's easy to find because I found it in game. And you just need to tweak one. You just move one little thing to the left or one little thing to the right on one thing, and that counts as a tuning setup. It makes very little difference to your car. Then go and win a race, easy 10G achievement, popped. And then if you don't like that one slight difference you made, just knock it back as soon as your achievement's unlocked. But overall, I tell you what, Need for Speed Payback was fun. I really enjoyed my time with it. I enjoy a Need for Speed game largely, and I say largely because we're going to go and move on to Need for Speed Rivals, or The Rivals. And I've got 205G out of 1000, and I'm done with this game. I wasn't enjoying it from the off. It's one of these games where you can be the police or the racers. There's no either or. You have to be one or two, but you can flick between the two, sort of in your open world and things like that. And I just didn't enjoy it. It wasn't no fun being the police. And when I was a racer, I found that as soon as you drove out, you had a level 1 heat on you, and a lot of the times you'd be driving to a race and you'd already be under pursuit, and then you could trigger the race on while you're under pursuit, but it was difficult. And then obviously you start the race and you'd be under pursuit as well. I mean, there are achievements tied to that, and I was able to get some of those done. So let's just have a look at the 205 I got out of it. Probably took me anywhere between 4 and 5 hours, to be honest with you. Banks your first score. That's not going to be hard to do when you're a racer. Busted a racer at heat 5 or greater. Reached cop rank 5. So yeah, I started off by being the police, and that's what I did with the police. I got up to rank 5 and I busted a racer at heat 5. Obviously when you're driving around the map, you can go over to racers and basically turn on your lights and it starts to pursuit, or you can just bump into them and it starts to pursuit. Find someone that's at rank 5, keep going until you've done them in and arrested them, and then you'll get this one here, the 5 buster below, which is a nice 35G achievement, which isn't too hard. As I say, I've got it, and I'm no good at racing games. So yeah, I played a cop until I reached rank 5, and then I was done with it. As I say, I wasn't enjoying it, so I thought I'd have a go at being a racer. And yeah, I did a few events without unlocking any achievements at all. I unlocked some cars, and eventually I got a half decent car that was quite fast and was robust. Obviously, when you're picking a car, pick one with good stamina if you're going to go for this achievement here, because I tried on one car which didn't have great stamina, and I wasn't doing too well. I then picked a car with great stamina and got annoyingly to heat level 8 before getting caught nearly at heat level 9, so I just restarted and I was able to get to heat level 10. Pretty much in doing that, you'll also hit a times 10 multiplier as well, so I was able to do that and pretty much unlock those 2 achievements at once, and you'll see they're quite a nice chunk as well, 75 and 40G. And then basically I carried on playing as a racer until I eventually hit rank 5. You'll get more achievements for ranking up to higher numbers and so on, but to be honest with you, I just didn't like the game. I didn't like this Need for Speed game, and I generally like Need for Speed games, and this one just didn't sit with me, so unfortunately I did not enjoy that. Okay, so above that is Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. Yeah, that's nothing new there at all. I beat all the games on it, which is achievements, and done one other thing on it, which is also an achievement. I just don't like playing online, so there's 300G missing off that, and I'll probably be repeating this in nearly every video because I still play this game a lot to this day. Okay, so this popped up in the store in the latter half of the month. Mr. Masagi Mayo Edition. It's actually 2 games in one. It's the game that's been out on the PlayStation Network for quite a while, which is where you just tap on a mayonnaise jar. So if we go all the way down to the bottom, and we'll just flick through this one. So there you go. You hit the mayo 5 times, 20 times, 50 times. And literally, you press one button a lot. Hit mayo 75 times, 90, 120, 150, 200, 350. You have to do it a total of 10,000 times. There are a lot of specific numbers here, as you'll notice as I'm scrolling up. Every now and then you will unlock something, and to apply an item potentially, you press Y. So every time you unlock something, I would advise that you put it on your jar. Yes, that is really a thing. And then carry on pressing it, because as you'll see, you have to wear the bikini and hit the jar 50 times while wearing a bikini. So that is like another achievement sort of in the game, rather than just hitting the thing multiple times. Again, this one here is another thing that I found and applied and hit the jar with, and so was that 1,500 times. That's another overall total. Again, something there 50 times, something there 100 times, something you unlock and 50 times, something you unlock and 10 times, something you unlock and 100 times, something you unlock and 125 times, and again, but with 100 times. There we go, past 3k, 10 hits, 150 hits for something. It's like I say, every time you unlock something, press Y and activate it until an achievement unlocks. What I would do is, once the achievement unlocks with the item that you've applied to it, I would carry on until we hit at least the minimum number that we're going to see. So we're now hitting 200 times with something applied, 10 times 50, 10, 10, 300 times, 5,000, that's an overall one, 200, 100, 10, 300, 300, 10, 500 times, 50 times, 8,000, that's overall again, 250, 150. See, these ones in brackets are all with something applied. Again, there's another 500 there. 10,000 is the highest number you have to do of just individual hits. Now, basically, why I needed to know the highest number there is because I got to a point where I was like, why am I not unlocking new things to apply? Because there is one item that you apply which you need to hit 2 numbers with. So I was like, it might have been a 10 times one, but then you needed to hit it 150 times as well. I think that was the case, actually, because I could see in brackets on the achievement tracker how many I had left. And it is worth noting, by the way, achievements in this game, or in both the 2 mini-games in this game, track, which is really, really handy to have. So basically what I would do is every time, you need to hit it 10,000 times, so that's a lot. So every time you apply an unlocked item, hit it at least 500 times, even if an achievement unlocks after 10, because there is one, and I don't know which one, which requires you to leave that item on and hit something twice. So yeah, that is well worth knowing there. And then you get an achievement at the end for unlocking all the achievements within that game, and then you can move on to the other one, which is basically a very poor dating simulator where you use something called Linger, which is basically Tinder. And as you'll see, look, yeah, rejected a date and then matched the date, very easy. Failing a date, very easy. 2 stars in a date, very easy. Got a high intensity massage, and then got a massage with Rio. Every time you complete a date, you can then have a massage with the person that you basically won over if you haven't failed, even if you've only got 1 star. Low intensity massage as well is basically there's a 2-star option and a 3-star option once you've unlocked or once you've maxed out the stars per date, like you say, and then you'll need to basically unlock, or you'll need to get 3 stars of every date in this game. Now, I was able to work this one out on my own. I was able to work out Nicole on my own. There are 2 different endings with Nicole. There are 2 dates with 2 endings, so bear that in mind as well. So I actually got myself killed, trying to actually get 3 stars, believe it or not. So that just happened. So what I would suggest with this one, because after I did 2 and got 3 stars, I then struggled to get 3 stars on the next one. So I found a guide on YouTube which told me exactly what to do. Because for some dates for you to be matched with, you actually need to change your profile as well, which you can do on the phone. So I would highly suggest, certainly if you want to get this one done quickly, to use a guide for the second game. Obviously the Mayo Jar one, no problem without a guide, but with this one, use a guide. I did, as I say, once after I'd worked out the first 2, especially the latter ones as well. Some of the latter ones go on for a long while and a specific set of instructions which you need to find. And then there's achievements for failing 5 dates, and I think the last one I got was for failing 20 dates. I found a specific date. In fact, I actually supplied a true achievement solution guide for it. I forget which date. I think the date was Sarah. a girl called Sarah, and once you've unlocked that day, or you can get into that day, if you pick the bottom option on the very first screen, it's an instant fail straight away. And that was how I was able to farm that one out, and the one above it out as well, because I was actually then starting to, as I say, use a guide from this point. In fact, when I got through Sarah's day, I didn't actually get the second ending. She's another one with a second ending where she discovers your true job. So yeah, my advice to you is, the Mayo one, do exactly as I said, but with the second one, use a guide. I think the people I used the guide for just this game out of the two was Chivo Guides. So check out their channel or search for this game with their channel name, and then it should come up. Okay, so next up on the list is, The Adventures of Elena Temple. I've had this for ages, Definitive Edition, and the 725 I've got out of it has been in about 2 to 3 hours. It's not difficult at all. However, I've only done 2 out of 3 temples. I really need to return to this game, but rather than go through it now in part, what I'm going to do is hopefully get nearly all, or get the completion for Gamerscore wise out of this game, and talk about it in the next video. But just let it be known, the 725 I've got out of that, be honest with you, it's taken me a couple of hours, to be honest with you. You're in the temple, you have to clear every room, find every coin, basically find everything, and it's not actually too difficult what I've done so far. But I am going to talk about this one in greater detail in the next video, hopefully, when I've done a lot more work on it, either got the completion or got a massive chunk out of it. Okay, next up, Virtua Fighter 5. I picked this up in a charity shop in the second half of this month, eager to play it, and 110G I got, which I streamed in just over 4 hours. I don't think there's any online achievements in this game, however this one is going to take a long time. So I cleared arcade mode on normal, or cleared arcade mode, normal mode within the arcade mode once you open it. Dural unlocked is basically beating it once. Okay, so right, what did I do? Need a bit of memory here. Okay, some of the achievements here aren't actually showing up, I think, because I've completed the arcade mode with every character, which took up a large amount of the time. I think that's... Oh, it's one of those achievements. Okay, so after you've done it, it renames itself to Dural Unlocked, but it should say beat arcade mode with every character. So what I've done, after clearing, I did one legitimate run through, and I say legitimate run through, I left it on all the default settings, best of 3, I was Sarah, and then I beat the arcade mode on normal mode. So what I did after that is I went into the settings, I reduced it down to easy. There was the option to reduce it to very easy, which in hindsight I probably should have done for time, but I reduced it down to easy. I reduced it down to just a 1 round to win, so there's nothing worse than winning 1 round and then losing the next 2. Not a factor then, you've just got to win 1 round. And as I say, I wrote down a checklist, because obviously 360 game achievements do not track, so I was literally being a character, crossing it off, being a character, crossing it off, and so on. And eventually, once I've done the last character, that achievement unlocked for beating the arcade mode with all characters. But I suggest bunging it down to very easy, 1 round, whisk through it in no time. Even still, do you know what? Some characters that I'm just not good with, generally the wrestlers and the ones that need close combat, I'm awful with. So I struggle with Wolf and Jeffrey a bit, even on easy. So I kind of wish I had put it on very easy. So yeah, I did that. I whisked way through the arcade mode with every character in order to get that 50G achievement, which is rare, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be if you want to get it. Okay, so I then went into sort of the adventure mode, or whatever it's called, placed in the official beginners try tournament. When that option to do that tournament pops up, just say yes. And honestly, when you start playing this mode, it is super easy. So yeah, see, the good thing about that is I played with every character, so I knew who I wanted to be, and I decided to be the young boy called Lion. So yeah, I got offered to go in that tournament, and honestly, it wasn't an issue to win it, but the achievement description says placed as well. So yeah, eventually got to first Dan as well. A lot of the time when you're in the buildings, you'll get a prize match, and the prize match is either an item or an orb. So once you get 7 orbs, I think you can only get 7 orbs out of every place that you go in. So I cleared 7 orbs out of the first place that I went in, and that achievement unlocked. Yeah, then I got an offer to go in the amateurs tournament, and I took that as well, and obviously I placed in that as well and unlocked an achievement. But one thing I just want to add, I can't remember what the building was that I called, but you'll notice that all of these, look, defeat all rivals in Sega Arena Coast, defeat all rivals in Club Sega Downtown. Now, I thought beating all rivals just meant beating the opponent once in that venue. So I had my checklist and I was putting ticks next to the ones that I'd crossed out from my arcade mode. And I'd done all of them and I was like, why hasn't it unlocked? But it turns out they have to have a star next to their name, which means they're on some kind of streak and then they're a rival. So I didn't realise that. Unfortunately, I then looked into it afterwards and found out that's what I was doing wrong. So I can do that. Every time you leave the building and go back into it, you're given a choice of going on one of 3 machines, and you can see the eyes of the person that you're going to fight first. Hopefully they'll have a star next to them, so you can then basically keep entering in and out until you get one with a star next to it that you haven't got. So that's something that I am going to do now. Hopefully, again, in the first half of August, I can work on a couple of more of these achievements. So I might be talking to you about this game in the next month. I may not. See how I feel about playing this game again. Okay, so above Virtua Fighter 5 is GSI, The First Case HD. This is another Ratalaika Games visual novel as such, but it's like kind of a murder mystery one with multiple options in which you can talk to multiple people as well. You can get this one done in under an hour, as long as you use a guide. I say in under an hour to be very precautious in time. Now I used a guide that I found on YouTube. Again, this one was by Chivo Guides as well. The guide time runs 20 minutes long, 20 something minutes to be precise. However, as bang on as the guide was, guy talks really fast in it, so I kind of had to pause a lot. So allow for pausing when you're using that guide. No discredit from the guide. The guide is bang on. It is really good. Obviously I've got the 1000G, so it is really good, but it's just a really quick guide, so just make sure you've got your finger to hand and pause it. Or I was able to do a lot of it without looking at the screen because he narrates everything, which is, again, perfect. So I was able to use that 20-minute guide. Probably took me, again, I had to pause a couple of times. As I say, you need to do multiple playthroughs with multiple different paths, do multiple different endings, do a couple of different things mid-quest as well. But bang on guide. So yeah, search that game name, type in Chivo Guides after you search that game name. That'll bring you up their guide, and that'll be the one that I use. So yeah, please do use that guide. As I say, it was bang on, and it got me the 1000G in less than an hour. As I say, I think it took me about half hour to 40 minutes because I had to pause a bit. But there we go. Nothing wrong with it though. Okay, above that, you'll notice it's twice ACO Neo Geo Twinkle Star Sprites. Now, this is one of the many Neo Geo games that are available, but I own about 50 of them, but this wasn't one of them. So I was advised by my good friend Beth Bear of Beth Bear Gaming that this one was easy, and then I found out I hadn't done it. Now, the points margins in caravan mode and high score mode, again, not that difficult. It's like you know those puzzle games that you get that are side by side, and then every time you build a row, you throw some stuff across your other opponent. Well, imagine that, but with a shoot 'em up, a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up, and that's exactly what this is. And what a cracking little game it is! I would never have guessed that's what type of game it was from the title of the game. So again, thank you Beth for bringing this game to my attention, because not only was it a very easy 1000G, it was a lot of fun as well. As I say, I did the caravan mode points totals, like the highest one, and the high score mode one, the highest one, first time. And then when it comes to the original mode, I always leave the original mode to last, because you have to play the other ones on a more difficult setting, so it kind of brings you into the game at a harder level than you need to do the original mode achievements at. So when I got to the original mode, again, played with the settings, adjusted my lives up to 5, and then also turn the level down from the default, which is 4, down to 1. So that makes the game a lot easier. That then makes hitting the points totals a lot easier. The 3 points totals, obviously, a lot easier, that is. And then the only thing to do is you can make save states. So if you want to be doubly precautious, if you get to, say, level 3 without losing a life, create a save state. And if something goes wrong in the latter levels, then you can always pick up your save state and then go from there. The only one other thing to remember is, obviously, at the end of high score mode and original mode, don't get finger happy with the buttons. Make sure you press A to register your score in high score and in original mode, and that will get the job done there. With regards to registering scores, achievements, which are a thing in all Neo Geo games. So yeah, a lot of fun and easy as well. So bear in mind all I've just said, stacked on the Windows 10. I'm very fortunate that I've got a Windows 10 laptop. Unfortunately, it can't play anything too complex on it, but it plays the Neo Geo games. It manages with the Neo Geo games, no problem at all. So I'm able to play those on there. So yep, absolutely stacked it. Next up, Ultra Hat Dimension, another Ratter-like a game special. Now, to get all 11 achievements in this, you need to finish 45 levels of the game. I don't know where I got 44 from, but anyway, you need to finish 45 levels in this game, which is by nowhere near all of them. So that's a good thing. Now, it's a very unique puzzle game. It's a top-down Zelda-looking game. It's a puzzle game. It's all on one map. There's no going in and out of rooms. You basically have to get a key and get out the door. That's pretty much what you have to do. As I say, with a Zelda view, with a Zelda type map, but it's all on one screen. There's no transferring screens on the same level. But there are these little blue blocks, and whatever side you go near to, they punch you one away. So it's like it's a little puzzle game where you have to navigate those things, obviously by finding the key and getting out. It teaches you that in the first level, that basically you have to get the key and get out the door. The first level, there's no problems. There's nobody either way. You just get the key, walk out the door. And that one level, finishing one level is an achievement. So it's a really easy 90G right there. But they add a mechanic where, like, you'll see her wearing a black pointy hat like a witch in the thumbnail there. There's about 4 or 5 different styles of hats. Now, if you're wearing a specific hat, later on in the levels, these little blue things start wearing hats. And if you're wearing the same hat as one, it won't attack you. And then obviously you can walk past it without it punching you one square away. And then also, later on in the game, you can then start, if you're wearing that hat, you can then push a block wearing the same hat. But if you push a block wearing the same hat, the hat then disappears from you, and then that block can then attack you next time you have it. Sometimes there's multiple of the same hats in the map and everything. So then you have to navigate these, push these things around the screen to, in order for you to get to the key and then get to the door and things like that. Now, I saw some of the maps and I thought, blimey, I'm going to have to do a lot here. Honestly, sometimes the solutions are a lot more simple than you think. Now, I must admit, I didn't use a guide for this. I like to take on games without using a guide if I think, I might be able to do it and try to enjoy the game for what it is. And that's what I did, and I was able to get the 45 levels done in somewhere between 3 to 3.5 hours. Now, if I had used a guide, I haven't looked for a guide, but I'm pretty sure guides for this game, walkthroughs, will exist on YouTube, and that will obviously probably get your time down to under an hour. But if you want to take it on without a guide, I mean, yeah, it's very skill dependent. We're all different. For me, it took about 3 to 3.5 hours one night. But if you want to use a guide, you'll get it down to under an hour. But not that difficult at all. It's another typical Ratter-like a game, to be honest with you. And then finally, above that, let's go into Clash Force. Again, I think this is another Ratter-like a game, and I know it is. And as you'll see here, the last achievement I locked was Desert Area 3. And you basically get a 90G achievement for finishing every area. You face 3 areas, then you face a boss. But you get to Desert Area 3 and you don't need to beat the boss, you've unlocked all the achievements. So you don't need to play through the entire game to get all the achievements. Now, the reason why I've opened it up is because Forest Areas 1, 2, 3 and the boss, no problem at all. Underground Area 1, believe it or not, for me was the biggest struggle out of all of them. It was because it's this moving platforms level, and that was what done me a little bit. So it took me a little bit of frustrations and screaming and multiple attempts actually to get past that level. If it wasn't for that one level, I would have done it in under half an hour, but I struggled a little bit with that level, but I persisted, and eventually I got past it, and I think my completion time was around about 40-45 minutes. But as I say, this can be done in under half an hour. If you say the levels in general aren't that difficult, that one to say was tricky. Apart from that, I think I had to retry a couple of levels once, but apart from that, I say it wasn't that difficult at all. The bosses were actually super easy. The 3 bosses that you need to face, I think it's 3. Yeah, Forest boss, Underground boss, and where is it? Fortress boss. Again, they were so easy, it was ridiculous. Another piece of advice I can give you is that if you find a good weapon, then like either the triple or the 4 spread weapon, just keep it. You see another weapon, just jump over it, because the weapons are random. You won't always get a better one than you have. And I say that because if you've got a good weapon, then every time you finish a level, you get a bonus level, which is jumping up across all these things flying above your head. And it's not if you've already got a good weapon, just don't jump up, just walk straight out of the level. But to be honest with you, easy completion this one. Easy completion, probably the easiest of the month that I've done so far. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different completions. 6 if you include the stack, which is the same game. So I've got 6 completions and another bunch of Gamerscore. It's been an okay second half to the month, as I say. It's always nice to get a completion, and we've got 6 of you count a stack. So ladies and gentlemen, that is what I've done in the second half of July. Thank you very much for watching and listening to me. If you have enjoyed the video, thumbs up would be great. As I say, this series has been going for quite some time now, a year and a half. If you enjoy these videos, why not hit the sub as well? Any support for the channel really helps. That just leaves me to finally say thank you very much indeed for watching, and as always, please do take care.